and welcome to Scott Fox After 9. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope it was a great Mother's Day weekend. The pod is ready to go, and I'm going to tell you in this episode. Number one, we bring in the great Anna Almeida. Hi, Anna. How are you?
Hi. I waved. Nobody saw that.
I saw. Yeah. I do need to talk to you about a couple of different things, like your weekend. Everybody, Anna got picked up by a kid this weekend.
Literally.
Almost picked up by a kid. Before that, though, there was a couple of stories that I had promised to tell on the Friday episode, and we just ran out of time, and I forgot, if I'm being totally honest. So a couple of things, loose ends that we need to tie up before we get into this episode of After 9. This episode, by the way, is going to include only about 20 seconds of President Donald Trump, but it's an interesting 20 seconds of Donald Trump. We're also going to talk about property taxes, and we're going to talk about road construction in this episode of After 9. Let's talk about what happened at Canadian Music Week. It was Fusion, I think it is, the new name for Canadian Music Week. It was last week in Toronto, and I was there. I had to go to a couple of seminars on podcasting, and one of the things that I wanted to tell you from that, I was in a seminar, Anna, with the folks who do the Canada Land podcast and those who do The Daily, the New York Times podcast.
Wow.
Have you ever heard The Daily, the New York Times one?
No, I haven't. I hear good things, but I have not.
Okay, I have only heard it once or twice, and it's very similar to how I do a podcast. I talk, I play a little bit of audio, I talk again, little more audio. It's great. Now, when I do my podcast that way, it's just me, right? You can testify to that. You're sitting right here. There's nobody else around.
Nope.
Nobody's producing anything in the background. It's all me.
It's you, one-man operation.
Do you know how many staff the New York Times podcast, The Daily, has?
I could only imagine it'd be a lot.
40.
What?
40 people work on that daily podcast. I was shocked when the host said that. Apparently, they have one person whose entire job it is to fact check them. So after they put out a podcast, somebody comes around and listens to it and tells them all the things that they may or may not have gotten wrong.
That is unbelievable. 40 people and yours is one and you get it done right.
That's right, Anna.
Wow.
I am an efficient gentleman.
That's it.
Seriously, I don't know what 40 people do on that podcast. Maybe they need a consultant of some sort. Cost cutting is clearly in order here. You don't need 40 people to put that out.
No, you do not. Do you need somebody to hold your hand? Like, I'm not sure what's going on. Hold the microphone to your face. Like, something's interesting, I guess. I don't know. But I will say kudos to you, Scott, because you do this. It's a lot of work and you get it done by yourself and people love it. So, and you don't need 40 people to get it done.
Thank you for saying that. I do put a lot of work into this.
do.
And one thing I will say is the audience continues to grow in the places that I never expected it. You know, the second biggest market for this pod now is Alberta.
Oh, amazing.
After Southern Ontario, where it all began, Alberta is the second biggest market on this pod, and big numbers on the East Coast. I think that's partially due to you. So thank you very much, Anna.
Oh, thank you. I'm just happy to be a part of it. Every time you ask, I'm like, oh, I get to be on your podcast. Okay.
Today's a weird day because it's Monday and not a lot eventful happened over the weekend. So I know that there's things coming, and I'm going to prove it when I play the Donald Trump audio coming up in just a few. But before we get to that, again, this is going to be a nice, light, casual episode here. Just something to ease you back into the week. And we are heading towards a long weekend. May 2-4 is actually on May 19th, even though May 2-4 falls on a Saturday, but that's next weekend.
Isn't that hilarious? It's hard to follow, but also just fantastic. I mean, going into a long weekend, I'm sure that's when people's vacation really start. They're going to take those following 4 days off.
I read a stat late last week that the month before school ends is the most stressful time of year for parents. Now, if you'd asked me, I would have said, oh, it's got to be around Christmas time or something like that. Nope. Last month of school is when parents say they're the most stressed because that is when a new season of sports gets underway. Got to take your kid to t-ball and soccer and lacrosse and all these other things. There's also the grads. There's the end of year events and things like that. Nice weather makes you feel compelled to get out. I can understand why parents are stressed.
And also, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with my kids all summer? Trying to get that organized as well.
Well, that's a whole other issue. I don't know how I don't even know how I did it back in the day. But anyway.
You did it, and they're great.
I did. So how many people messaged you this weekend to point out that I was supposed to tell a story from Canadian Music Week on Friday's episode, and I didn't do it?
Oh, quite a few, actually, even when I was out. And then I said to myself, that's right. What did happen? He hooked us, but he didn't deliver.
That's my fault.
Yeah.
I'm a non-deliverer.
We need to know what happened so we can have secondhand embarrassment for you.
Okay. Last thing before we get to the content here, I'll tell you what happened to me. So last week I was at this, I think it was Fusion. It was something like that. It was an F word of some sort. And it was the event that replaces Canadian Music Week. I was outside in this area where they have a beer garden. And there's a tent where they were going to do some performances. So I'm standing in there and it was hot out. It was like midweek last week. I ordered a beer and I took that first sip and I thought, oh, that's exactly what I needed after a boring seminar hearing about an overstaffed podcast. And I was there talking to a colleague of ours and we were discussing what was going to happen in this tent. I said, what goes on in here? Like, is there a show of some sort? And she said to me, yes, there's a concert tonight. And I thought, okay, Who is it? Who's performing? Felix Cartel. Now, Felix Cartel, for those who don't know, is a Canadian DJ and producer who gets a lot of radio airplay because he makes Canadian music, and Canadian radio stations need to play about 35% of their playlist as Canadian music. So, no doubt, you hear Felix Cartel on the radio a lot. But in my head, I'm thinking, is Felix Cartel big enough to fill this tent? Because it seems like a big space.
You thought this in your head, but what did you say out loud? I hope you did not say that.
Well, you know that there's an inside voice and an outside voice. And I was using my outside voice because I was outside. And I looked over and I said to the person I was with, I said, is Felix Cartel big enough to fill this tent?
Oh my gosh, I can't.
And she looked at me and said, I don't know. I don't know if anybody's going to come to this thing.
Oh my gosh.
That was it. Then, and it had to be our boss. Our boss walked back over. He had been engaged in a conversation with somebody. He comes back over and he walked right past me and he went up to a guy that was standing beside me at the bar. And he said, hey, great job earlier. Looking forward to your show later tonight.
Oh my gosh.
And then my jaw dropped. Then my heart dropped. And then I thought, oh, Jesus, did I just ask if Felix Cartel is big enough to fill this tent right in front of Felix Cartel? Yes, I did.
And I know your outside voice.
So it wasn't quiet or subtle.
No, I know that he heard you. OMG.
What do you do in that scenario? Do you keep talking to the other person and try and make up for it? Like, oh, I'm sure Felix Cartel could fill this place. No problem. He's a big superstar. Or do I just let it die and hope he forgets about it?
I just start referencing myself as a different person's name. Somebody you don't like.
Hi, I'm Mad Dog.
That's right, Mad Dog. That's right. Okay? I too would wonder the same thing about Felix Cartel.
Oh,
Not Scott Fox.
But Anna, I didn't mean it in a bad way. I just thought, well, this is a big tent for any artist to fill, and I wasn't sure if Felix Cartel had that kind of draw. Now, as it turns out, my alarm was completely unwarranted because there was a packed house in there.
You know, it's okay, Scott. We all go through moments like this. It's
felt
okay.
so stupid.
But you weren't alone. Our colleague also thought the same thing. So there you go. It was the two of you.
It was embarrassing is what it was.
Yeah, and if he never plays at our Christmas party, we know why.
Jesus.
Right?
It never occurred to me that is a distinct possibility, actually. How was your weekend?
It was good. You know what? It was a full weekend. Hung out with some friends. My dog turned 2, so that was a celebration of its own.
Have you traditionally celebrated dog birthdays, or did you just run with the idea that I gave you last week?
No, I've always celebrated.
Love it.
Yeah, the Got You Day and their birthday, because my dogs are rescues. So I've always gotten them something. And yeah, he turned 2, so he's no longer a puppy, but forever a puppy in my eyes.
Okay.
And we went for a walk. He went in the river because it was really nice Saturday. And then I took him for his first ever ice cream cone.
How did he do with an ice cream cone? Because I saw the video and you seemed quite concerned about brain freeze.
Well, because they go in so quickly and they just like lick it to pieces. But it was so cute to see how much he enjoyed it. He ate the whole thing, the cone. Yeah, if I didn't take the paper off, he would have eaten the paper too. But it was the best. And then he had a birthday cookie and lots of love too from my parents. They're his avô and vovô, we say. And yeah, it was great. And Mother's Day, yeah, it was awesome.
Is that Portuguese for grandparents?
Yeah.
How do I say that again?
Avô is grandma.
Avo.
And avu is grandpa.
Avo and avu.
You got it.
Ah, very good. It's like Nona and Nona.
Yes.
Oh, Nono and Nona. I can never keep them straight.
But it's the same. I totally get it.
Awesome. Well, that's good. And happy second birthday to Max.
Yay.
You said he's a rescue. How long have you had him?
I've had him about a year and a half. So he's my second rescue. I rescued him from, I saw a friend saw his posting online and said he needs to be rehomed. He's been in 4 other homes at that point. And I got him when he was 5 months old. But he has no confidence. So we're working on his confidence. And he's a big boy.
Good on you for taking on a rescue. Do you ever wonder if the dogs ever reflect back on their life? Because your dog right now is living a pretty good, blessed life. Your dog is getting ice cream on his birthday and regular walks, and there's other dogs to play with, and he's getting toys and treats and all that stuff. And I imagine it wasn't like that before he was surrendered.
Yeah, no, I feel like little things will trigger his memories. I don't think any dogs really like vacuums, but he's particularly scared of the traffic noise going outside. I had to train him to go outside at 5 months old because he would just pee in the house, which was interesting. So he's scared of children. Doesn't like kids. I don't know if it's because they're eye level to him, not sure, but not a big fan. And just like little things like that. Does not like if you blow through a straw.
Really?
Terrified. He will not go near you. So I'm not sure what the heck happened there, but yeah, we're working on his confidence.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, good on you. You've given Max a great life here, and presumably that's a good second birthday if you're a dog.
Yeah.
Going out for ice cream and a little swim in the stream.
It's so fun. I mean, your doggy and my doggy should be best friends.
It's entirely possible. Charlie is, my dog is weird because he's a big dog.
Yeah.
He weighs almost 100 pounds. He's a Bernie doodle.
So cute.
Meaning his mom was a Bernese mountain dog and his dad was a poodle. He doesn't like little dogs, but he likes the idea of little dogs.
Okay.
He sees them and he thinks, oh, cool, a little dog. I want to go and play with it. And I think he thinks it's their size.
Oh.
But when he gets barked at or something like that, boom, it's all over. He just cowers.
Oh.
Doesn't like to be yelled. He's a lot like me in that sense. Does not like to get in trouble.
Okay. No wonder you've taken this Felix Cartel thing so personal.
Oh, boy.
Did I bring that up again? Did that hurt you?
Can you try and get his number? I feel like I should send a text or something. It's bad. Okay, listen, I said there are some things I'm going to play on this episode, and I do want to play them for you before we talk about the Leafs and a few other things that are on my radar. I also want to talk about celebrity endorsements in this one. First off, it's only 20 seconds long. If you're one of the Elbows Up crew, don't worry. It won't last long. It's just 20 seconds. President Donald Trump talking in the White House just the other day about something that I think we have to be on the lookout for.
I said before in our meeting with the new and very talented Prime Minister of Canada, that we have some very big announcement to make. It's not about trade. It's about something else, but it's going to be a truly earth-shattering and positive development for this country and for the people of this country. And that'll take place sometime within the next few days.
What is that all about?
What is it? I have no idea if it has nothing to do with tariffs. What is it?
Let me play that just one more time since it's only 20 seconds.
Okay.
I said before in our meeting with the new and very talented Prime Minister of Canada, that we have some very big announcement to make. It's not about trade. It's about something else, but it's going to be a truly earth-shattering and positive development for this country and for the
Earth-shattering and positive development for their country. Oh. Big announcement about Canada. What could he be announcing that has nothing to do with trade, earth-shattering for America, and great for the American people? What is it that we have worked out behind the scenes? Or have we not worked out anything, and this is something that Carney himself would be surprised at?
I could see that. I feel like he would probably be sitting right now thinking, what the heck did we talk about that this is, warranted this big moment? The only thing, maybe getting rid of passports and you just cross the border with your license.
Wouldn't that be great?
Right?
Hey, you know what I don't understand is that was one of the things that's been talked about. A lot of people have suggested since the tariff talk came up that Canada should actually be looking at a much more integrated relationship with America in that you could live or work anywhere in North America and you could travel freely back and forth. We have some people that have Nexus cards, and there's a big backlog of people waiting to get one. But for those of us that already do, we're apparently trusted travelers. Why don't they just open up the border for people that have a Nexus and allow you to go back and forth? Better yet, if I'm not having any luck in Southern Ontario finding a job, and I'm told it's very, very difficult to get one right now. I know I didn't have any luck when I was unemployed. Why can't I go to a place where there is a job, where they need workers? If there was a state in America that had a shortage of podcasters and radio DJs, maybe I should go there. But of course, we're not allowed to cross the border and just work in a different country. Maybe that would be something positive they could work on.
Yeah, no, my cousin got sent back because they're like, why would we hire you when we could hire somebody within our country? And he's like, but I'm qualified. They're not. Take me. I've been here. So
some people are begging for a green card or a work permit. And once you get one, you're good. You just got to follow the rules and you're down there having a great time. There's another thing, though, from America that I want to play for you as we continue to speculate and wonder, what is this announcement from Trump? I want to play something for you that happened on Friday. It happened in Florida. The governor of Florida is Ron DeSantis. You may recall many people considered him a front runner to be the presidential nominee had Donald Trump not run for the Republicans. It may very well have been this guy, Ron DeSantis. Well, now he's talking about something that very much interests me, getting rid of property taxes. Anna, listen to this.
No, you should own your property free and clear. I think to say that someone that's been in their house for 35 years just has to keep ponying up money, that is not, you don't own your home if that's the case. So yes, of course, I'd like to see people be able to owe free and clear. And it's interesting because it's like if I go to Best Buy and buy a flat screen TV and put it on the wall, I got to pay a sales tax on it, right? But I don't keep paying tax on it every year. I mean, it's just that's not how we do things. It's like, okay, if you're going to tax something, you tax it at the transaction and then let people actually enjoy their private property free and clear of the government. So that, I think, is the vision. That's the philosophical insight. And if you think about our founding fathers, when they were proposing the Constitution, in one of the Federalist Papers, I think it was Hamilton, he's writing about, because, there was opposition to the Constitution. They were making a more powerful federal government than under the Articles of Confederation, and people worried about taxation. And they didn't have, obviously, a 16th Amendment, which eventually came on income tax, but basically you were not effectively allowed to do any direct taxation. It had to be indirect, meaning you couldn't just, you could theoretically just apply like a tax on land federally, but it'd have to be a portion among the states, so practically it could never work. So basically, Hamilton's saying, look, the indirect taxes are the most effective, efficient way to raise revenue for the government, because they basically allow the individual to choose how much tax they want to pay based on how much they're consuming. And there's a security, there's a protection against excessive tax in that regard, because if the government raises consumption tax too much, it kills the golden goose, because then it causes people to stop purchasing as much. But he said taxing property is one of the worst forms of taxation, because people don't have a choice in the matter, and you're just basically drilling these folks over and over again.
I'm going to leave it there. I think everybody gets the gist of what he was saying, though. You buy a house and you pay taxes on the transaction. Mm-hmm. There's land transfer tax, HST, yada, yada, yada. Why do you have to keep paying every year property taxes? Why is that? And why can they tax your property? If you bought it, you own it. And what Governor DeSantis here is saying, in fact, I'm going to back it up again to just maybe the first 15 seconds of this. Just listen one more time to what he had to say.
No, you should own your property free and clear. I think to say that someone that's been in their house for 35 years just has to keep ponying up money, that is not, you don't own your home if that's the case. So yes, of course, I'd like to see people be able to owe free and clear. And it's interesting because it's like if I go to Best Buy and buy a flat screen TV and put it on the wall, I got to pay a sales tax on it, right? But I don't keep paying tax on it every year. It's just that's not how we do things. It's like,
okay,
You got my vote.
Governor DeSantis is a polarizing figure, and some on the left don't like him, I think, simply because he does propose common sense things that the regular person can relate to. He communicates it in a good way, and he is very much anti-government, anti-tax. This is a very good point and a discussion that we should all have. Why are we paying property taxes every year? And let me take it a step further. I know that some people, because we did this experiment on our radio show today on Light 92.1 in Southern Ontario. We did this as a question to listeners by text. A lot of people came back right away with, well, Scott and Anna, you have to pay property taxes because that's how they fund all the services that you get. Anna, I've heard anecdotal info that we owe our property taxes. We pay a massive amount. Less than a third of what we actually pay is directly related to the services that we all use. Your garbage pickup, your water, sewers, that sort of stuff. Less than a third of the money we pay goes to that stuff. The rest of it is all just padding city coffers. And my thought is, why is the municipal government taxing us even a penny more than they need to deliver municipal services? And I understand there's a little bit of admin cost there. Having a municipal government, you got to pay a mayor, you got to pay councilors, you got to pay a staff. They need an office. They need IT support. There's going to be expenses to having a government. I think where they lose people is, yeah, your property taxes cover your garbage and your snow removal and all that sort of stuff. But they're also paying for a lot of things that I don't think people generally want. I looked at the budget this morning from a couple of different cities in Southern Ontario. It is massive how much we spend on parks and rec. It is like more than anything else.
Wow.
It is incredible how much we spend in various cities on transit. And while that's probably great in some cities like Toronto, Mississauga, Brampton, Calgary, Edmonton,
Metropolitan,
Vancouver.
big ones.
Yeah. I'm talking about little small cities. I live in Burlington. Population of just over 100,000 people. There are buses running 24/7, I believe, all through the town. And they've all got these big realtor ads on them. They got all the buses wrapped. I'm convinced that wasn't for advertising. I'm convinced that's so people don't realize there's nobody on the bus.
There is nobody on the bus.
People are not taking the bus in a lot of cases. And it makes me wonder, if there's not as much demand, why are we continuing to fund a $10 million a year transit system? It doesn't make any sense to me in a small town. Some towns have said, we're not going to have transit at all. We'd rather offset the cost of an Uber for people than actually put buses out on the roads. That's just one example, transit. There's a whole bunch of things that cities spend money on that I don't think taxpayers want.
No, there's lots of, and even though we're paying for those services, let's say like the snow removal that I still get plowed in, I have to take care of myself, or the garbage bags that they don't always take either. Not to be, picky, but that stuff drives me crazy because then I still have to go and call the city and try to figure things out, and it keeps happening.
Why is it so hard?
Why?
I live on a dead-end street. So my street almost never gets plowed. In fact, this winter, I spent a considerable amount of time on the phone with 311 trying to get somebody to bring a plow down my street because cars actually couldn't get out of it. We had so much snow at one point in January. They used to come down, drop some sand, and be on their way. Well, I'm paying the same amount, if not more, in property taxes than somebody down the street who gets snow removal every time it snows. It's not applied evenly, Anna. And when... Okay, now I'm onto municipal stuff, and it drives me crazy. So this might be a bit of a rant. Why don't we get more of a say in how the municipalities are spending our money? I hear all kinds of debate, around budget time about, how much money are we spending on the police? Do we need to spend that much money on the police? Yeah, we probably do because we're in a crime wave. How about we ask the question, do we really need to spend that much money to have all these different libraries all open at the same time, servicing a relatively small amount of people? These community centers that they build, sometimes they're great. Other times it's excessive. They spend a lot of money building them and the uptake isn't necessarily there. My only comment on this is, can we please make sure that every penny is responsibly spent and accounted for before they come back to us and want to raise our taxes? Because there hasn't been a year in the last 6 that they haven't raised property taxes. You hear Governor DeSantis here saying we shouldn't even be paying property taxes. So what's the alternative? Could you get behind this, Anna? And I know that this really only applies to homeowners. This doesn't really apply to renters, although it might apply to renters if the property owner didn't have to pay property taxes.
Yeah.
So how about this? Get rid of the property taxes altogether, or bring them down to a bare minimum, like $1,500 a house is a flat rate. Doesn't matter if you live in a mansion or you live in a condo. Everybody pays $1,500 to start. That's your portion of the cost of running government. And then after that, everything's a user fee.
Oh, I love it.
They can bill us for how much water we use. They can bill us for a lot of things. They can figure it out. Why couldn't they bill us for how many bags of garbage we put out?
Yep.
Why couldn't they just send us an assessment after the winter? Hey, your street got plowed 3 times. Your share is $50. You owe us $50. Why couldn't we get to something like that? So we're only paying for the services we need and want.
I have to agree. I'm going to say, like, you for mayor. I'm voting for you, Scott. Honestly, that's genius. But it is genius. And also, I think in terms of like garbage bags or whatnot, people will be more environmentally cautious and take better care, probably.
Sure. If they're paying by the bag, you watch how efficient people are going to get.
That's what I'm saying.
That was the whole philosophy on the carbon tax. If you make it expensive to pollute, people will pollute less. Well, hey, how about we say recycling is free or compost is free? You got to pay by the bag for garbage that you put out. And it might work out that the average house only puts out 1 bag of garbage every 2 weeks. If we got it down to that, I would think we're saving money, not costing money.
Well, and I've had friends actually put their house for sale because the taxes that they pay on the home per year was just becoming too much, especially as their family started to expand. You know, and they love their home, but you have to make sacrifices, and that was the one.
Yeah, I just,
it's hard.
These mayors and councilors, they come to us every year, and oh my God, there's nothing we can do. We have to raise the taxes.
Get out of here.
Well, here's a jurisdiction like Florida that wants to get rid of them altogether. And you can tell Governor DeSantis hasn't necessarily figured out how they're going to be able to fund city services. To me, I would upload just about everything to the province, and what bare minimum the municipalities need to operate should cost a bare minimum to operate. I think we need to have tough discussions on whether or not every city needs their own transit system, or whether or not they could be well served just by having Greyhound service or GO service run through the town, as opposed to buses all the way through the city all the time. I think it's a good discussion to have, Anna, but I know that the people who are taxing us really like that revenue, and they're not going to give it up easily.
Gosh, no. And to you, I say, I'm going to leave it at that.
Did you watch the Leaf game last night?
I did. I did turn it off, though, after Bennett scored the second goal, and I was like, all right, I'm out. Forget it.
I don't understand why the Americans were chanting USA so much when the only 2 people to score goals last night were Canadians.
Yeah, well, they like to claim their own.
Bennett and Verhaeghe scored. They're both Canadians,
right?
So go ahead and do your USA chant if you want, but I don't think it's going to work out. Still with sports. Well, look who showed up at the UFC fight in Montreal on Saturday. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre.
I know. He was just in the crowd mixing in, talking to people. It was interesting to see.
Some people are saying, see, we told you. He's a Trump guy because Trump goes to UFC events, and there's Poilievre trying to look like Trump. Do you see it that way?
To be honest, no.
No, I don't either.
I don't see it that way. I see somebody who saw an opportunity to go and, rub elbows with other people and say hello, and he could be a fan of the sport. That's why people go to those particular sporting events. I love it.
He actually is a fan of UFC.
See?
That's part of the reason that it might have been very interesting to have him on Joe Rogan's podcast, because Pierre actually does follow it and could probably have an articulate conversation about it.
I wonder if he will go now, because since he turned it down, I wonder if he'll get the opportunity to take a seat and have that conversation.
I don't know if the offer is still on the table for Pierre to do Joe Rogan, but I'll tell you, now's the perfect time to do it. It would have been a mistake to do it during the campaign.
Why? Why do you think that?
Because, there's just so many people that... Have you heard of the Trump derangement syndrome?
No. Wow. That's quite the title.
TDS. And you know what? It might sound crazy, but there's some people who just blindly hate the president so much, and they'll come up with anything they can think of. Everything from his past to what he's doing, everything. They just hate him. In fact, on the right, down in America, they often refer to the left as having Trump derangement syndrome, because they're blinded by hatred, and they just can't they can't look issue by issue and say, yes, this is good, or no, that's bad. Just everything he touches, they hate. Okay. A lot of people tried to link Pierre Poilievre up with that. Say, if you're a Pierre guy, you're a Trump guy. As it turns out, it was actually Mark Carney all along that was very much a Trump guy. I played some audio a few minutes ago. Trump going on about what a great guy and great Prime Minister Carney is. Those guys are friends, not Pierre. In fact, Trump has criticized Pierre. But as soon as he does anything that might be a little Trumpy, like go on Joe Rogan or go to a UFC fight, people start turning and they try to make it all about Pierre's just trying to copy Trump. I don't know. Did it ever occur to anybody that maybe he just likes UFC?
I mean, it's a great sport, and it was in Montreal. I mean, it was held in Canada, and that doesn't happen very often. And it was title matches too, so it was really good.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I watched it.
You were out on Saturday.
I was, so I kept seeing the highlights for UFC on my phone. I watched little bits and pieces, which kept making my friends laugh because they're like, "Get off your phone, mingle." But it's hard to mingle when you're one of the older ones there at the bar.
So you went to a bar.
Yeah.
And you were with a group of friends.
Yes.
Couple things happened. You had some interesting encounters with men who were interested in you.
I know. They thought I was younger. Okay. And age is a gift, I know. But one, he came over to me. We were sitting with my friends at the bar on a table, lined up at the bar. Anyways, he comes over and he puts his hand out.
Hold on. You're at the bar with friends.
Yeah.
And this guy comes right up to you surrounded by friends.
Yeah.
Okay, this person has got balls, because that's not an easy thing to do, to walk up to the one girl in the group and start talking to her when she's surrounded by friends.
Yeah, and I had guys around me too. I didn't think of it that way.
Well, give this guy credit.
Wow.
Now tell everyone what's wrong with him.
Yeah, okay. I can't remember his name, God love him, but he put out his hand to shake mine, which I was like, oh, okay, hello.
Good intro,
Right.
A handshake. I like that.
I said my name was Rachel, because that's my alias name.
What are you doing?
I can't help it.
Why don't you just tell
know.
people your name? What are you making up an alias for?
Because I wasn't attracted to him or anything. It doesn't matter. If I like you, I'll give you my real name. Leave me alone, okay? This is just how I operate.
Were you putting out vibes there that you were interested in meeting somebody, or were you just minding your own business?
Minding my own business. Hello, I was checking my phone to see who was going to win in UFC. Anyhow, he shakes my hand and he's like a little small talk, and then he's like, "Oh, how old are you?" And I was like, "Oh."
He asked how old you were before he asked, "Could I buy you a drink?" or something like that.
Yeah, he hadn't asked me my drink yet.
Really?
No.
Well, I guess he wants to do his due diligence before he invests $10 into this.
Well, exactly. And then I go, whoa, how old are you? Or maybe I asked him his age, because I am that way. Regardless, the age came up, and I was like, what year were you born? And he goes, year 2000.
He's 25.
Year 2000.
You're 39.
Yes.
25-year-old tried to pick you up.
I know. And then he goes, how old are you? What year were you born? And I was like, 1998. Don't laugh. He believed it. He believed me.
Did he say, "I'm sorry, ma'am," and get on his way?
I would have died if he had said, "Ma'am." But when he said he was year 2000, I put my hand. I was like, "Nope. Good day, sir. Good day. Good day."
Why? How do you know this wasn't the right guy for you? And I know he's a little bit younger, but
Little.
well, he's a lot younger than you.
lot.
He's legal. He's 25. He's an adult male.
Listen, if he can't understand.
10 more years and he'll have his own place and won't be in his parents' basement anymore.
So we think. We hope.
We
That's the
hope.
goal.
I don't know where the economy's going, everybody,
No,
so it
yeah.
might not happen that
But
way.
No, never. I can't. Even when I went on Bumble, you have to put on like the age that you're interested in. I was like 35 plus. 35 to 44 was like the golden era. Yeah.
So you'll go like 4 years younger and maybe 6 or 7 years older.
No, 4 years older. 44.
So you'll go 4 years older, 4 years younger.
Younger.
You only have an 8-year cohort there that you're willing to date.
Yes, because I want to be a mom. If I met somebody, I feel like 44, they'd still be willing to have a kid.
Anna, the sperm on a 25-year-old is probably exactly what you're looking for.
I cannot. He's like a couple of years older than my nephew. I was like, never in my life. If my nephew brought home a 39-year-old woman, I'd be like, girl, there's the door. I'm going to show you to it. So let's get her going.
So what was the holdup here? What, you just didn't like the idea of dating someone younger?
That's too young.
If you didn't know his age.
Oh, I wasn't attracted to him anyways.
Really?
But I have to know. Oh my gosh, I'd be so pissed if somebody lied to me and said that they were older than they are. That would bother me. I hate being older than the person I'm dating. I hate it. I don't know
Really?
why. It just bothers me to know, I hate it so much.
But that's got to be in your head, though.
It has to be, but I hate
age
it.
has nothing to do with maturity or intelligence.
No, because I've dated older and younger, and they ended up being like little boys. I haven't met a man yet that has been worth the while, but hopefully. But you know what? Then I was standing in the bathroom because it's like a gender neutral bathroom and it's individual stalls.
How do you feel about that? Do you like that?
Yeah, it was fine.
I feel like when they have the individual bathrooms and they're unisex, that is either for sex or cocaine, one or the other. That's what I feel like those rooms get used for, way more than actually peeing.
Oh, I could see that. I definitely was using it for the peeing and touching up my makeup, for this 39-year-old face that somebody thought I was 27.
You must have done a hell of a job on your makeup.
What are you talking about? Gosh, look at me right now. If you could only see.
You look like you're going to rob a store. She's in a black tracksuit.
Well, I like to go undercover.
Monday morning.
Exactly.
I'll give it to you.
Thank you. But let me just tell you that, when somebody is staring at you, you can feel it intensely. And this guy was standing beside me. I looked up because I'm shorter. He's staring down at me. And he had an accent. And then he looked and he said, "I want a kiss now." He wanted a kiss now. That's what he said to me. And I could see my friend from the other side in the line laughing his head off.
Hold on. This guy,
yes.
You've never met him before?
Never, Scott. Never.
Okay, you said he had an accent.
He had an accent.
Approximate. Give me like a continent.
Like Russia.
Oh, okay. Like
Very.
Eastern European.
Yes.
Interesting.
Very much. He was tall, like light hair, light eyes, very pale, leaning over me. And then he goes, "I want a kiss now." And I was like, "Yeah, buddy, I want a lot of things too, but nope. Like, get away from me."
You threw him a "nyet."
Is that what it is?
No, in Russian.
Yet.
Okay, so.
Moral of the story is I shouldn't go out.
Did he go away after that or did he persist?
Well, no, he kept leaning in and then I went to the bathroom and then that was the end of that one. Thank goodness.
Man, that is like really aggressive.
Right.
I'm so aware of the surroundings if I approach somebody. Mm-hmm. I'm aware of what might make other people uncomfortable. And I always look for those sort of things. Never in a million years could I go up to a woman and say, "I want a kiss now." I'd be mortified.
I know. Mind you, if you were older and good looking, maybe I would have. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
I wonder how often that works for him, though. Like,
oh, I know.
There's got to be examples of where he said, "I want the kiss now."
Yeah.
And somebody probably did.
That has never, ever worked on me. And no. I don't. I like directness, but that is just too much, buddy.
Okay, so you had a couple of guys interested, but you did not do anything. You just went home after the night, and that was it?
Yeah, got McDonald's.
Good.
And went home.
That's
that was the best time.
Anna, sleep alone in your own bed after a Big Mac or some fries. It's just awesome, isn't it?
It's the best. No snoring beside me. Nobody taking up the bed and giving off body heat. Oh, it's just glorious.
Except for little Max.
Oh, yeah, Big Macs. Oh, my gosh.
Do you let him sleep with you?
He does sleep with me, but right now he's obsessed with my dad, so he'll sleep downstairs. My parents and I have an apartment upstairs, apartment downstairs. That's where they live. So yeah, he leaves me for them, but that's okay. More room to myself because he's a big boy.
On Saturday, I had to go to a family function, and I was taking the QEW. I was on the QEW eastbound. This was in Burlington. I got on at Walker's Line, and I was only going as far as Mississauga. We're talking maybe 20 kilometers on the highway, eastbound. But I noticed, Anna, as I was driving, westbound traffic was not moving at all. And I thought something big must be happening here. So sure enough, after doing a little bit of investigating and texting Dan Dealey, our traffic reporter, I found out it was because they decided, by they, I mean government officials, those types, they decided, beautiful day, Saturday of Mother's Day weekend, that was the best time, daytime, to shut down 2 out of the 4 Niagara-bound lanes on the QEW for construction.
Idiots.
Anna, it was backed up from the Burlington Skyway to 3rd Line in Oakville, not moving. I checked some of the comments on social media. Some people waited on the highway for like 2 hours trying to get to Niagara.
I would have been outraged, honestly. To think like why they even thought that would be a good opportunity blows my mind, and they have no common sense. And whoever this person was, I hope you don't come forward because they'll come for you. Like, that is outrageous.
Like, seriously, when they're planning out construction, and I know that this is a very congested area. Southern Ontario, for those who don't know, very congested.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of different places you can get without taking the highway. If you've got to get from Toronto to Niagara, you've basically got to take the QEW. When they cut it in half for a weekend, a beautiful weekend, what do? Do you just say, you know what? I love my mom, but it's not worth it? Or do you just muscle through it and put up with it?
I probably would have muscled through it, but I would have been really angry, and then that would have affected our plans because I don't do well with sitting in traffic. I just get anxiety. It builds up, and I like what you said, like just do the construction at night.
I don't understand why we're
not.
You know, well, we've had all these conversations over the past number of years about how we can reduce gridlock. And there's various proposals. The premier is considering a tunnel under the 401. Many have floated the idea that we should buy back the 407 and make it free. People would use it more if it were free. Okay, those are good things. But the real missing piece of the puzzle here is the timing. They got to start doing traffic overnight. We can't have a situation in a congested area anywhere in Canada with daytime construction. There's just too many cars on the roads and it doesn't work.
I agree. And I feel like having family members who have done road work, they preferred the overnight hours. First of all, because it's not as hot, especially working throughout the summer months. So you get that time. And also it's safer. You don't have cars flying past you as much as you would. Mind you, they're gridlocked. But, you know, I've only heard the positives rather than the negatives of those who would rather work during the night.
One more thing I'm going to try and fit into this episode here as we cover all the things that are trending today. Did you talk to anyone about the new Pope this weekend?
Oh my gosh, that's all we keep talking about. My mom, my dad, my brother, everybody.
Yeah, I was with the in-laws this weekend. They're a little more invested in it than I am.
Yeah.
You know, this Pope being from America is weird for a lot of people. I mean, there's got to be a reason it has never happened in history before this time. There's a lot of people that think Donald Trump somehow influenced the Vatican to select an American Pope.
Yeah, my brother told my parents that yesterday during Mother's Day lunch. And my dad is just not a fan of Trump.
Yeah.
He has his reasons. And anyhow, fine. And my brother started off and I was like, oh my gosh, please don't start. Like, let's not ruin Mother's Day lunch, please, you know, because you get heated. But you can't say the Pope right now without saying America.
Yeah.
You can't just say, oh, we have a new Pope. But he's from America. Like, it has to be there in the
It's
title.
like the asterisk.
It's wild.
Okay, well, America, well known for exceptional marketing. They don't miss an opportunity to run a sale for much. They have sales for Memorial Day when you're supposed to be running tributes to fallen soldiers. They're offering half off on mattresses. Like, these guys don't have a lot of tact when it comes to these sort of things. And so we shouldn't be surprised at all of the new products that are popping up around the Pope, particularly in Chicago. Let me tell you about a couple of things here. There is a restaurant, Gino's East in Chicago. I got to look at the stats and see if I have any listeners in Chicago. I'm wondering if anybody's ever been here. Gino's East of Chicago is now selling the Poperoni Pizza.
It's such a funny name.
The Poperoni, it's perfect. They say it is in honor of Pope Leo XIV being from Chicago. The Poperoni Pizza has 3 different types of pepperoni plus Chicago sausage on a famous Gino's East crust. It's available in deep dish and thin while the Pope is still in office.
Well, it's going to be a long time. He's 69.
Yeah, he'll be around for a while. That's like a 20-year menu item there.
That's delicious, though.
So you've got the Poperoni Pizza. Let's check out the Pope Leo sandwich here. That's at a Chicago restaurant chain called Portillo's. They're honoring the new Pope with a sandwich called the Leo. It features Italian beef, sweet peppers, and more on a fresh roll. Diners say the sandwich is a delicious twist on a Chicago classic.
Okay, because I think, like, how did they come up with it and why they chose particular meats over the other? But it sounds good, too. I love me a good sandwich.
Is it not tacky? Like, I feel like if I ordered a Poperoni pizza, I'd probably think, haha, this is great, but I should go to confession because I'm going straight to hell. You know, like, I feel like I'm doing something wrong.
I confess this pizza is delicious. And I will order it again. Now,
if food isn't your thing, you could also, if you want a little piece of history, invest in the new Pope bobblehead. A hot seller, according to WGN. They say the limited edition Pope Leo XIV bobblehead has been released. It features Pope Leo XIV wearing traditional papal attire and holding a staff. You can purchase that bobblehead for $29.99.
I think it's going to do well.
I probably will.
Honestly.
Hey, bobbleheads, they give them away for free at sporting events.
Yes.
This one is $30.
But it's history. Oh my gosh, I'd love to see it on somebody's dash. just like waving.
They're also selling Pope cookies and many, many other treats. There's cakes with the Pope's picture on it. I just feel weird cutting into it or biting into it.
Biting into it, but I feel like there's still not a foam finger. Once we cross that threshold of a foam finger, and then we see it at the Basilica or like St. Peter's Square when he's doing a sermon, then I'm like, okay, there you have it. That's where you need to go to confession.
I got 2 more food news items. We'll start off with Nutella. They're introducing a new flavor. The first Nutella flavor in the 60-year history of Nutella.
Wow, 60 years? Why are they going to change something that's working,
Oh, they'll still have regular Nutella, but this one will be a peanut hazelnut spread that hits stores in April 2026. So big, they need a year to source all the peanuts to make this Nutella and then make it available across the world.
It's because tariffs are expensive.
Yeah, maybe they're waiting to see what's going on with the tariffs.
Oh my gosh.
But a new Nutella coming. That's an interesting one.
Okay.
That'll be good with chocolate. You can make your own Reese's, but a Nutella peanut base, that'd be great.
You do, because you like dipping your chocolate into peanut butter, right?
If I get a chocolate bunny at Easter or just a sizable chocolate, yeah, I dip it in a jar of peanut butter.
It's incredible. So is
I
this... So
can't
this
apologize for what I love.
Confession, No, but that's great. So this is something you would be interested in.
Yeah.
Actually.
I find, though, that, well, you're Portuguese. It might be the same for you. I've found that the Italians are very protective of their Nutella. In fact, if you tell them that you like Nutella, the first thing they're going to do is try and tell you the stuff here isn't the same. You got to get the stuff from Italy. And then I've never had the stuff from Italy. I've just been promised it a number of times. They're very protective of their Nutella. Once it goes peanut, they're either going to hate it or they're going to start a war over it.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be appreciative because, again, it's going to be like, what? No. That's ridiculous. Don't do that. No, you stick to the original. We don't want... And then on the down low, they're eating it.
Did you grow up with a lot of Nutella in your household?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I
no wonder I have a dairy
All my Portuguese
allergy.
friends did.
It was so good, though. Oh.
One more on the food news note. Joey Chestnut, the competitive eater, set a new record again this weekend when he ate 15 3/4 pounds of bologna in just 8 minutes at the Ultimate Bologna Showdown. What goes on at the Ultimate Bologna Showdown?
Wow.
I'd like to hear more about this. It's in Knoxville, Tennessee. They say the feat is a new world record. Chestnut's incredible feat left spectators in awe, with one witness expressing, "I can't even eat 1 pound of bologna in a day, let alone almost 16 pounds in 8 minutes."
That's more than a newborn child. That's almost 2 newborns. That's twins. He ate twins. If you do it by the weight, that's wow. How sick did he feel after is what I want to know.
What is your stomach? I mean, if they ran tests on your body after you ate almost 16 pounds of bologna, what would it come up with? Would it say high sodium, high nitrates, near death? What would it say after that?
Near death is correct. And then you're trying to wash it down during the eating contest too. So that's even more sodium with the pop. Ugh, I can't. I'm sorry. It would make me gag just watching him eat it.
I haven't seen this one yet, but the Daily Dot is reporting a Canadian TikToker named Chantel exposed a Pizza Hut location recently for storing pizza boxes and kitchen supplies in the bathroom. The video went viral, prompting the company to respond on social media. It says, "Thank you for bringing this to our attention. We take this seriously as it doesn't reflect our standards." The health department got involved due to contamination risks. Hey, you go to a restaurant, you use the bathroom, and you see, oh, this is where they're keeping the food. You're walking right back out of there, I would hope, right?
Okay, I have a story about this. It didn't happen to me directly, but this pizza shop is no longer in Cambridge. 2 of my best friends went for pizza. They're sitting there inside eating, and then they noticed the same broom that they saw this employee sweeping the floor, they used to clean the oven.
Oh, really?
Legitimately, they stopped eating and left. Isn't that disgusting?
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I mean, it's no longer there, but...
Jeez. Quickly, I would like to wish all of the nurses a very happy it's International Nurses Day. This is National Nursing Week. So to the great healthcare professionals that listen to us every single day, happy International Nurses Day, and I hope you have a great Nurses Week. We are going towards a long weekend, everybody. Whenever this announcement about whatever Donald Trump is planning comes down, there's going to be detailed and in-depth analysis right here on Scott Fox After 9. As long as it doesn't turn out to be another dud, which he's getting kind of famous for.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was a dud. He likes to over explain.
Over promise and under deliver?
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it, Don.
Politicians there.
Friends, have a great Monday. I hope you do. Enjoy the beautiful weather as long as you're getting it where you are. It is nice here in Southern Ontario today. 25 degrees with sunshine.
Oh, I'm going to go out there and feel the sun on my face.
We will catch you right back here tomorrow with another After 9. Oh.